After watching dozens of videos about Google Maps scrapers, I kept seeing the same thing. Everyone talks about scraping thousands of places, collecting email addresses, and boosting productivity. But few talk about real problems. No real scalability, scraping tied to your IP address, limited filters, steep learning curves. Maybe it's time to dig deeper. Let's go beyond basic info. Let's talk about the data that really matters. The kind of data that helps you segment, personalize, and enrich your database.
Today we are comparing two tools, Leadsgorilla and Scrap.io. How do they work? What kind of data can you actually extract? Which one is the best scraper? Hi, I'm François, and today we are diving into Leadsgorilla and Scrap.io. Let's start with the basics. What are Leadsgorilla and Scrap.io? I won't bore you with a never-ending generic description. What's more interesting is this. What do their landing pages tell us? Let's compare both titles, shall we? For Leadsgorilla, we can read, find new clients and close more deals with world's first AI-powered lead finder. And on Scrap.io, Google Maps leads generator. Scrap.io's promise is minimalist, simple and straight to the point. Leadsgorilla, on the other hand, makes multiple promises, find clients and close deals, all powered by AI. Truly useful or just a flashy gimmick?
We'll put their name to the test.
A demo will probably say more than 1,000 words. Let's dive into the tutorial. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to take a look at both tools. So I have two open tabs, Leadsgorilla and Scrap.io, and there is a first main difference I've noticed. Scrap.io helps you to scrape Google Maps data and nothing else, and Leadsgorilla allows you to scrape Google leads, meaning Google Maps leads, and Facebook leads. It's not necessarily good news, neither bad news actually. All that to say that on this video we are going to be focused on Google leads only. Might I suggest we start with Leadsgorilla because you need to set up a couple of extra steps. So let's start by finding leads, and if we jump into the Google Leads tab, there is a first surprise, and not a very pleasant one. If I target, let's say, restaurant, and I target Nashville, and if I click on search business leads, well, it's not gonna work because you have to create your API key first, and that's something unbelievable because it implies that you have to use the official, the real Google Maps API in order to scrape Google Maps. But okay, let's get started. So let's jump into the API keys tab, and let's do that really quick. Here was my previous Google API key, and to do it I have to create a project. I select a project, I create a new project, I give a name to my project, I click on create, and I click on select project. See, my project has been created. Now I'm assuming that you have already created a billing account, meaning you have already set up your payment card details. And in order to use the official API, we are going to go to APIs and services and library, and we can search for Places API or Places API new, because these are the APIs allowing us to scrape Google Maps data. I click on the first one, I click on enable. I might have forgotten to tell you, but first we go to google.cloud.google.com, and once it's over, I have access to my API key, which can be copied, pasted. Here we go, I save API keys. Okay, now let's target restaurant in Nashville, Tennessee, USA. I click on search, and I have access to 20 leads, 20 results. Well, obviously you have access to much more than 20 restaurants in Nashville, and there is a strong reason for that. It's because the Google Maps API is working with a batch of 20 results each time. So in order to collect more data, we have to show more leads, and I'm pretty sure we have to do that every time. But are you aware there are around 1,700 restaurants in Nashville? Okay, let me do quick math. We will have to click on the show more button 85 times. Why not? You might wonder how I'm sure that we can find 1,700 restaurants in Nashville. Very simple, thanks to Scrap.io. So as you can see, I can pick up an activity. So I've picked up the very same one, but on Google Maps are listed around 4,000 different Google Maps categories. Just pick the one that suits your needs. I can select a country, a level 1 division, and a level 2 division. We'll come back to that later. And a city. So if I target Nashville, I click on search, Scrap.io is going to tell me that there are about 1,700 results. It's only an estimate. Once I click on export, Scrap.io is going to re-extract all the leads in order to make sure that you have access to the most updated database possible. Now let's come back to Leadsgorilla. It seems it's working. I have access to some filters, rating 4.4 or less, with email, no emails. So let's assume I want to save the first lead. I'm not going to save them one by one.
Am I?
Actually, I don't think so because I can select all. Okay, I've taken 3 of them for the sake of the example. In the meantime, let's say a quick word regarding Scrap.io. So I've promised you I'm going to tell you a word regarding level 1 and level 2 division. So to make it clearer, level 1 division represents states and level 2 division represents counties. So for obvious reasons, we didn't call them this way because the terms county and state don't make any sense if I pick up another country. So for that specific reason, we have decided to choose a generic name. And that's the best thing regarding Scrap.io is that I can perfectly scrape data at the scale of a city, but if I have the proper plan, I can also target leads based on an entire county, but also at the scale of an entire state, but we can also gather data at the scale of an entire country. We are not even able to give you a very specific number at that scale. Let's come back to Leadsgorilla a second. So now let's assume I want to contact my leads. Okay, let's go to contact leads. I select a campaign, Google Leads, at least leads with email. Here we go. It's a good thing that we can directly contact our leads and find our leads on the very same platform. But again, we can only retrieve 20 leads at a time. What I wish to do now is to make you a quick comparison between Leadsgorilla database and Scrap.io database. So I wish I could download the leads into a CSV file if it's possible. Okay, let's say I want to see that lead. Perfect. I can't believe there is no way to get a CSV file. Hello, CSV file. Now, to be honest, I do not know how I can get a CSV file. Okay, anyway, let's come back to Scrap.io. So before exporting your database, you can also filter your data out. So you have like a lot of different filters. We can't cover them all within that video. Your filters are divided between essential ones and advanced ones. Let's pick some of the filters which can make sense in our case. For example, I want restaurants only, closed permanently, no, with an email address and with, let's say, at least 10 reviews. I click on filter and here is my updated database. Then I click on export, I give you an export name. I can set up an exported lines limit and you click on export. And all the exports you have done so far can be found within the My Exports tab. So usually I'm only creating some samples for cases like this video tutorial, but be aware that you can get some very large databases too. And the point is, as we have seen together, large-scale extractions work just as flawlessly as small ones. Let's download a CSV and an Excel file, let's say, and see what kind of data fields we can get. Here we go. Google ID, the name, description is closed permanently, main type on all types, website, phone number, full address, which is divided into different subtypes, coordinates, of course, owner ID, place ID, email addresses, social media link, first seen on when our crawler has seen the Google Maps page the first time, when was the first date, the price range, reviews ID, reviews count, reviews rating, reviews per score, photos count, the occupancy is claimed, working hours, characteristics, SEO related data. It only applies if the Google Maps page has got a website, of course. Website title, meta keyword, meta description, meta image, meta generator, additional email addresses, followed by additional contact pages, followed by additional social media links, and we wrap the thing up with website technologies and website ad pixels. To sum it up, Leadsgorilla is an ambitious all-in-one tool, but its biggest flaw lies in its lack of clarity. You have no choice but to create an API key just to gather data. Can we take a moment to put ourselves in the shoes of someone who doesn't even know what an API is? The all-in-one feature is appreciated, but it's not exactly optimized for quickly searching through a batch of 20 leads. This lack of scalability is what's holding Leadsgorilla back. If you want something GDPR compliant, if you want to collect leads at scale, if you want a no-brainer solution, go to Scribe.io. And always remember, your first 100 leads are 100% free. This is the end of the video. If you have enjoyed it, you can subscribe. There is nothing else to see. Bye.